Hey, what's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Tenzin, 130 of the SOS podcast. Sorry for the late arrival. I was trying to give our guest some time to come in, but I believe she's going to be a no show. Yeah, the guest we were supposed to have on was actually our beloved older sister. Well, technically to Folkland is a younger sister, but to me and B, she's old. She's our elder. So, but yeah, we were supposed to have her on to talk about, addiction and recovery and just like, just her, commitment to spreading awareness about addiction and educating people about addiction and also just advocating for helping people heal. Um, but I believe she will be a no show today. So hopefully next week we can get her on. But if she happens to just pop on in, we'll be also just as excited. But just because we can't have our big sister on does not mean we still can't touch on addiction. I mean, we definitely touched on it before, but it's never too many times to touch on it because it is a very, very important and prevalent issue across the US and just worldwide, especially with how hard it is to sort of advocate for addiction recovery just because even to this day there's still like a what's that word, dang, I hate blanking on words that's like at the tip of my tongue, but my brain just can't deliver stigma. There's still like a negative stigma upon people who suffer addiction, and because it's weird, it's like it goes two ways, right? Like on one hand, I mean, yeah, it is kind of self-inflicted because no one's ever, well, I mean, besides the rare occasion of people being forced to take drugs, but I mean, yeah, okay, usually starts, okay, a motherfucker gets curious, okay, oh, they enjoy the high, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, but they can't control themselves now, but it's also a disease, as medical professionals and psychologists alike will tell you. Like, no, it does. I mean, obviously, it shifts your brain because, like, the most basic addiction, right? Let's like, well, I would say, hmm, excuse me. I mean, most addictions can be harmful in different ways, but I'll just say like the least harmful addictions, right? Like marijuana or I don't know, gaming, uh pornography consumption, right? Like, those types of addictions, they might not be physical as in like you'll catch withdrawal symptoms or throw up or something like that if you go without them. However, it does something to your brain, right? It kind of switches your psyche to just want to do those activities. You know, and I mentioned like porn and video games just because, those are, you know, it's like a certain dopamine effect when you play the game or, watch pornography, right? However, you're not ingesting any like dangerous chemicals in your body or anything like that. However, you're saying, oh wow, but your brain now is psychologically dependent upon those activities, So yeah, and the road to recovery, like I said, is usually hard because especially whether it's hard drugs or pornography or even video game addiction, I mean, most people will be like, okay, well, put the fucking controller down. I mean, I can't, or hey, get away from your PC. Like, there's active steps that you got to take. And the hardest part about addiction is obviously, the one suffering from it has to have the desire to get better. Saying that's where it starts. Like the one suffering from the addiction the most, they have to want to get better. And a lot of the times, I mean, that person will just stick to the habit just because it's like, oh, ain't nothing wrong with me. Hey, B, what's going on?
What's up, everybody? Sorry about that. I keep misspelling these dang things in here. I re-entered that link like 8 times. I'm like, what am I doing? And then
Oh,
here I left a letter out, and I was ticked.
oh, you had to like actually type it in.
Yeah, when I'm pulling it up on the laptop, I do. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Because like when I send it through text, I have to type it in because I'd be doing everything on the on the desktop, well, laptop, but
Mm-hmm.
it's on top of a stand.
Right, right. No, I feel you.
But yeah,
But but yeah, what's going on out here in the world.
man, we're just continuing. Well, just continuing Danny's good work.
Yup.
Talking about addiction and recovery. So and I was just sort of just touching on, kind of like how hard it is to get treatment just because of the stigma around it, especially,
Mm-hmm.
talking about hard drugs. But I was also talking about things that aren't drugs that people can like have crippling addictions to, like
Oh yeah.
gaming and porn.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, gaming, gambling,
oh yeah,
all
that's
types of
another one.
stuff,
Yeah,
man.
gambling.
It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I somebody who was really, really close to me. I mean, that's as far as I'll really say, but I know somebody who suffered from gambling addiction. That's some scary stuff. You know what I mean? Like, seeing just like them just beholden to it, sitting in a casino for hours, and I mean, not wanting to eat or sleep or move. You know what I mean? Like it's not great. You know.
Right, exactly. And
Yeah.
and that's man, this I mean, it was shared for comedic purposes, but on a serious note. So B, did you see that viral clip of this man being like dragged out of the casino because he lost like 250K in 2 hours?
Yeah, I think I seen something like that. I was it a recent. This was like a recent thing.
I guess so. It was like some white dude. He was like, ah,
Okay, no, I
ah.
didn't see that one.
Okay.
All right, at the one I'm confusing it. There was this one. This was I can't remember. This might have been last year. It was this clip of this black guy. He like supposedly had won. I can't remember if it was like the sports betting or if it was like a machine. It was something involved with gambling though. They say he was at Vegas and they said like it was some technicality thing where he couldn't get paid out and he was ready to kill them people up in there.
Oh well,
And it was
that's actually understandable.
oh no, I know, but they said too, like he had lost so much before that. Like it's like that was part of the fuel to the fire with that. And that's why I was just like, man, like I don't know. Like I said, you can never judge anybody's addiction. It was just gambling was just
Mhm.
always one of those ones that was so hard. I guess because that person in my life, it would, I viewed it in a negative light already because for me it was just one of them things that just like there's barely any reward to that I mean there's no reward to any addiction, but especially with like for instance if somebody's using drugs they get high, and I won't say
Mhm.
that that's a reward, but like there is a feeling of like euphoria almost with it,
Hold on, B.
whereas
Keep talking. Keep talking. Hold on.
like when it comes to like gambling I'm just like that feeling of like release or whatever just can't be it's too few and far between. That's why I was kind of just like with when it came to that addiction I never it was so hard for me to understand that, because I'm just like yeah it's like so few and far between that you can even capitalize on it.
Yeah, and so I guess with like, yeah, like as you were saying, yeah, like, well, but I guess the high the gambler would get would be more so like the thrill.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I'm guessing because like that's an addiction that I never. I had to face.
Well, the person I knew who had it, they did tell me that, like, yeah, it is like fun while you sitting there, but then fun kind of turns into desperation after a certain amount of money lost. So then it's just like you chasing it, you chasing and chasing and
Yeah.
chasing it.
Chasing
And,
that dragon.
right, right, exactly. And also too, I my conspiracy theory, especially watching that person go through that, my conspiracy theory always is that the casinos do like throttle the wins on purpose to create addicts. Like I know, like it to me, I feel like the whole purpose of the casino business is to create that.
Oh, of course. I mean,
Sister,
hey, the woman of the hour.
sister, curious, curious.
I don't know.
Hello.
Can y'all hear me? I don't know if y'all can hear me. I
Yeah,
can't really
Yeah,
hear
we
me.
can hear you. Can you hear us?
Danny. Okay. So below us is our older sister, Danny, who I
Yup.
was talking about earlier in the episode. Um, she's calling me again. Uh, anyway, keep talking to me.
Oh yeah, it's cool. It's cool. We just trying to get this figured out. This technology stuff kind of crazy. It's hard trying to get this stuff together. But yup.
Okay, yeah. So our big sister's having some technical difficulties. We can hear her, but she can't hear us. Um, but yeah, like going back to the guy that I was telling, like I said, it was shared for comedic purposes. But I was thinking, like, dang, 250K in 2 hours. Like,
Yeah.
were you just
But
betting big the whole time?
but that's yeah, but
Like,
that's not even really like too surprising, especially depending on like if you go into the high roller
mhm.
tables or like the high limit slots and stuff like that. Like that's not too surprising to me at all. And especially too, I mean, I think the other thing when it comes to like addiction, I said I have a real like, you know, issue when it comes to gambling because of that person, like and how they struggled. And but like one of the things I've really been really weirded out by over the past few years is the boom in electronic sports gambling. Like I've noticed now that person who I knew was going through that, they weren't cis curious.
Mm, okay.
Uh, might be like a Wi-Fi thing.
Probably.
Um, what was it? But that person wasn't going through sports gambling. But I have seen like so many. I've read so many articles about how this sports betting stuff has like permeated our culture and how so many people is losing so much money off of this stuff. It's crazy. You
I
know
mean,
what I mean?
and also too, it's like, what is it? Hey, Danny, can you hear us now?
Can you hear us?
Mm. You may have to try a desktop, but yeah, no, I mean, it's very. I don't know, because it's like, 'cause I wouldn't compare somebody who plays the lotto like maybe once a
Right.
week to somebody who's like constantly at the casino or now with the sports betting, because I remember like when it was really starting popping online, like they were heavily marketing towards, the youth. You know
Oh,
what I'm
for
saying?
sure.
Like, motherfuckers who, I mean, an adult barely has self control when it comes to like gambling,
Hmm.
especially like, betting on a team, like a spread. But like to the youth, like getting them hooked in early, like
Yeah.
damn, that's like kind of sinister. And now it's like you hear about it on the radio.
Yeah.
It might be a
And
YouTube ad.
every
Like,
major sport has it tied directly to them too. They all got deals with DraftKings and all
yeah,
them other
that's what I'm
ones
gonna
and
say.
stuff like that.
DraftKings, yeah.
Like it's crazy. Like this used to be a thing you had to go to some shady dude for. Now the NBA is pretty much telling you to do it every time they cut to commercial break. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
which is funny, right? Because that's how the numbers started. The numbers started
mhm.
off as like some street shit.
Yo, yeah, no, yeah, with the lottery, yeah. But the problem is too many. I mean, literally straight up, like too many black people was getting rich off of it. So
Mm.
they federalized it and took it over. Like
Yeah,
that's essentially what it was. Too many black folks was getting in on it. And yeah, that's pretty much what it was. But yeah, I mean, I think that, when it comes to addiction, I think that is a good point to bring up how most addictions are targeted to younger people. Like, even, I was noticing when I was in college how many of my friends were hooked on, you know, the tobacco stuff, you know what I mean? Like
oh yeah,
Jules
chew and
and
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
not Chew for our class, it was like Jules.
Oh, the
The
vapes.
vape, yeah, the vape
Yeah.
pens and stuff. Like I knew so many people who was hitting them Jules and little mini vapes and everything, and it was and then like, you'd be out walking the streets or in the mall or something.
Can you
Sis,
hear
you
us?
hear us?
I can.
Hey, there we go.
Oh,
Hi. I'm so
it only
sorry. I
took
don't
like
know why with my phone I couldn't hear you guys. I could see, I just could not hear.
You had the app. You was using it on the app.
No, I just clicked the link that Marcus sent me.
I was because I think that happened to me like a long time ago. When you click that link, some depending on which phone you got, it kind of acts weird. So like I think because I just downloaded the app on my phone. So like if
Oh,
there's ever a chance where like I'm away from home or whatever, and I'm not near my laptop at the time when we starting, I'll just hurry up and join on the app.
okay. That's cause y'all fancy, okay? Whenever I do my stuff, it's Zoom, baby. $3.99. All this other shenanigans and stuff. But I'm so sorry. I definitely I remember that Marcus said this. I was checking for my email, and as soon as I stopped checking my email, brother, you sent it. So that's my bad. I apologize.
oh no, we're just glad you're here now. Yeah, we were just touching on like one example. Oh, well, where's my manners? So below us is Danielle Shields or Danny. I spell it with a Y. I don't know why I do that weird shit, but I'm gonna just keep
My
doing it.
brother's
Sis,
always
But
going.
sister, please educate the peoples on your platform.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? I am Danny Shields. I am a host. I am the host of Raw Recovery, the community. And everybody tends to butcher my name. You could definitely spell it however, you know what I'm saying? Just don't call me Dan. My brothers haven't seemed to get with that concept because they still call me Dan, but I am a girl. So Danielle or Danny, but
I am a girl, David.
right, that's what I just thinking. But these two and my older brother, they still call me Dan, so it's whatever. But yeah, Danny, nothing special. How y'all doing tonight?
Oh, we love you, sister.
Love
Also,
y'all too.
we just want to give an extra applause to your platform. Daddy
Mm.
has killed this podcast thing. Okay, she got a studio. She got illustrious international guests. All right, across
right.
the pond over there
Word.
chatting.
With my mic.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, and she met Zoran Mondani.
Oh, you
Yeah,
seen
yeah, she
that?
did.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. I follow it all, sis.
You
You
seen
met
that?
yeah, you met Zoran and everything.
Yeah, he was mad cool. I ain't post Onshell posted that. I was holding off on posting on pictures, but I also got to meet the mayor. I mean the governor of New York as well. So
Oh,
Was it
I'm just
Hoku,
yeah.
cool.
oh yeah, Hokel? Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I be butchering. Yeah, I be butchering people's names. So I just be saying people's titles like Mayor Mandani, Mamdani. He's amazing. So I just don't be wanting to butcher his name because he's doing phenomenal things.
Hey, nah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
I've been so like happy to see. Like, I remember since when you first told me you was starting your show. Like when you like talked to me and like we was discussing like like the little blueprints of it and stuff, and like seeing how big it is. Like every
Big.
time it's big. You be doing street interviews and everything. Yeah. But it's no,
That's
it's great. So I just want to give extra claps to Danny.
Thank you.
Love you so much.
I love y'all too. That's what's up, bro. Thank you. You got my heart beating all hard, fast.
But yeah, no, we was me and Marcus was in the middle of we was kind of discussing like little aspects of like addiction and stuff. I mean, granted, but just little layman stuff like how we've been noticing it in culture and everything. Like I brought up, like when it came to like gambling addiction and all this other stuff, like because I had somebody in my life who was tied with gambling addiction and how it hurt them.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then we was like, go. We was especially just talking about too, like how most addictions was like, target people younger and younger and younger. So
Hmm.
no, just wanted to, since the addiction is the topic of your show, like just wanted to give you a chance to like really touch on anything you wanted to touch on or like really spark off the conversation.
Wow. Yes, man. Thank you so much for having the conversation, number one. And when people think of the topic, it makes me feel some sort of pride that people think to reach out to me, you know what I mean,
Hmm.
just to hear what I got to say, because I do have lived experience, so I do appreciate you giving me the floor. The first thing when it comes to addiction that I really need people to tap into and have empathy about is it's a disease. Addiction has truly been diagnosed. It's medically a disease. It's not something that people ask for. No one wakes up and says, I can't wait to be an alcoholic. What do you want to be when you grow up? An alkie? That's not what it is, right?
Hmm.
That's not what anyone wants. So and if you can have the empathy for a person who's battling cancer or a person who has diabetes, like for example, if a person has diabetes and they are eating all types of sweets and then they have like a sugar coma rush, are you going to get mad at them? Or I mean, you might be disappointed in them, but you're not going to shun them and throw the book at them because
Hmm.
it's a disease. Even though they know they have this disease and it's something that they have to work at, they slipped up. You know what I'm saying? So
Well, I
um,
mean, if it's type 2, I'm gonna be like, sucks to suck, loser. I'm just kidding.
I know, Marcus. I know, my brother. Like, but the difference between them is you might be like, yeah, you brought that on yourself, but they don't get shunned. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? A person with the disease of addiction can literally be shunned from community, shunned from even being around their families. You know what I'm saying? So, um, what I preach and shout and push over and over, addiction is a disease. Relapse is a part of recovery. So anyone who's working on their recovery, if you relapse, it's not
Hmm.
you it's to be expected. I hate to say it because there's some people who
Right.
never relapse, but it's not you're not the worst person in the world. You're not just a failure. You have a disease and your symptoms came back. Now
Right.
you might not have been doing what you need to do to address those symptoms, because before we pick up our drug of choice, you're already, they say you're relapsing before you literally relapse. You've thought about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You didn't call anyone to say that what you were going through. And the most important thing for a person who's possibly on the verge of relapsing is the thing that we say in the recovery space is play the tape, right? So the younger generations, people under the millennials, they might not know what a VHS tape is or a DVD, but you know what a movie is and you
Hmm.
know how the movie ends, right? And for me, my movie, if I pick up my drug of choice, which is alcohol, my movie ends in addiction coming back full throttle, me being homeless, me um, facing life or death, because I was literally um, almost out of here because I couldn't stop drinking. So if you can play the tape, you know how Titanic ends. It's
Hmm.
going down. So,
Mm.
if you're thinking about relapsing, I say before you get there, how does the story end for you? Right. So with that, those are the main things that I try to push. Addiction's a disease, people that have empathy about it, and not to suffer in silence, because a lot of people don't talk about what they're going through, not even just addiction, but within any type of trauma, because of the judgment and the shame. That's like my main thing, is like the no
Right,
judgment and empathy. That's like who I'm trying to be.
right. Now, when it comes to you know, getting people to like have empathy and realize that addiction is a disease, one of the things, that I've seen, especially in my personal life, dealing with people, older family members, who struggled with it, and those who were on the receiving ends of that struggle. I think one of the things that kind of blocks that empathy is you know the hurt, or
Mm-hmm.
like the victimization from the
Mm-hmm.
people who were suffering from the disease.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, one of the things I wonder is like, how do you address those people's concerns and also get them to show that empathy for their loved one who's suffering?
Well, the reality is they may not ever be able to tap into that empathy because they've been through a lot of things, and that
Mm,
is to be validated. I made sure that one of my first episodes for my platform, I had an individual who was a child who grew up in a house of addicts,
mm,
because so often when it comes to recovery spaces, the person who's in recovery from their addiction, we get the floor, we get to talk about how hard life was for us, but
mm,
we don't often shine the light on the person who we affected, who we hurt. So I
mhm,
think the most important thing is to let everybody get what they're feeling out. No one should have to suffer in silence. And a person who was the child or the spouse or the family member of the addict, you were suffering as well. So
mm,
we're never ever taking that away from them. And again, I'll just go back to the point that there may not be a, a crossroads where there's forgiveness, and some people, myself, have had to sit with that. Some people just are not going to be able to forgive. um, However, if there is room for forgiveness, then we have to dissect what forgiveness really means for that person and for that situation. Because if you say you've forgiven someone, it doesn't mean that you forgot,
mhm,
right? It doesn't mean you forgot, but it does mean you're going to start working on how do we get to a better place, because we can't keep on bringing up what a person did, because then you didn't really forgive them. And again,
mm,
that's okay. If you're not open to forgiving, then you have to be honest with that. But if you're telling a person, I forgive you for all of the things, then in the same, once you get mad at them, you're throwing up the fact that they used to be on drugs. It's
mm,
not really going to be healthy for growth. But I think the most important thing for that situation, because we don't want to take away from what they've been through, is to let their feelings be validated.
mhm,
Yeah, and just judging, not judging, touching on that empathy angle, because there are a lot of families out there who definitely try their best to help, their loved one who's going through it. But sometimes, understandably to them, it can be very emotionally and sometimes even physically taxing
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
on them.
mm-hmm.
And, sometimes, like, now if they got it like that, they can send their loved one off to a rehabilitation center. But
Right,
now some families may have to make that painful decision to actually, cut off that addict.
right.
And what do you have to and what do you say for those, like, people, like, yeah, man, it's like I really tried my best to help my son, but
Right.
his but he spirals out of control. He stole from me.
Mm.
He assaulted the neighbor. Like, what can we
Mhm.
do? You know.
You must. There's if you've ever been on a plane, they say, parents, put your mask on first, because If you fumble around trying to put everybody else mask on and then you die, then everybody die, right? So whoever is in any type of situation like that, you must take care of yourself first. And there's even recovery spaces for people who are the family member or the friend of an addict or a person suffering from an addiction. It's called Al-Anon. Alan. I don't get me wrong, but if anyone's wondering what it is, we
I
can get
think
that
it's Al-Anon because
right.
my mom, I think, had to go for my uncle a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. Al-Anon. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. It's basically like NA or AA for the person who's the family member or the support of the person who's the active addict. You get what I'm saying? Because
Mm,
they teach them boundaries. They teach them, they even get sponsors. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
They just teach them how to not let themselves get, to lose themselves in the other person's situation. But
Mm,
I think you were saying, what about, how do I feel about people who have to literally cut their family off? Again, I'm saying it goes back to, you have, if you feel you've gotten to that point, because again, speaking from experience, my mother and my father changed the locks on me. You know what I'm saying? Rendered me homeless. I had nowhere to go because I became dangerous to their home. My addiction got so severe that no one recognized who I was. And then, we have our older brother with the baby. He only had the one son at the time. You have to keep kids safe. And when
Right.
you're in your addiction, you're not yourself. Um, you you become monstrous. You do things and you say things that you wouldn't typically do when you're sober, and you can hurt people. So what do I say? I say I don't want anyone to feel guilt or shame if that's what you had to do for yourself or for your loved ones, because when we get in our addiction, we just become people that our family and our loved ones don't recognize anymore.
mm-hmm.
Mm. And and speaking from my personal experiences with addiction, I mean, luckily, you know, I'm living with my grandmother, so I mean, at least I had that kind of stability going on. But it's like at least when you try to do it by yourself, it's like, okay, you know what? After this, I'll do better.
Mm.
I'll save my money. I won't buy no more. I'll try to get, but then payday comes. It's Friday. Like, fuck it, we ball, man. Get a couple of
Mm.
grands of that shit. So
Hmm.
it's all it.
Right
So
on.
yeah,
It
like
be
it
like that.
definitely
It be
psychologically
just like that.
changes
Yep.
you.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just like what you said it, Marco. It's a psychological thing. Like, right, it drugs, substances, warps, it does something to us. It makes you think. It makes you, they always say, like, we're no longer normal, the person who's in active addiction, because we think the things that we make okay in our brain, the normal person be like, how does that make sense? Like, you
Right.
did what? Like, no one goes to the doctor's office with a fifth on them so that they could be drinking while they're waiting in the doctor's
Mm,
office. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just not what normal people do. But if
Right.
you're an alcoholic and you don't want to go through withdrawal, I think that's a very wise decision. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
and then it's like, not only just with that, but it's like the weekend and payday that usually simulates fun. Like, right,
mhm.
you got some
Mhm.
extra money, and so your brain is thinking, well, you got extra money, let's go do extra money things. But immediately when you get those thoughts, like I said, play the tape. And even if you're not to the point where you consider yourself an addict, if you're spending too much money on a certain thing and you don't have enough money for the rest of your rent or the rest of your bills, or to, you know what I mean, then you need to maybe start weighing what's
Mhm.
Right,
what's going on. You know what I mean? Because you might be teetering, you might be having some type of issue, and even if it is an addiction, you might have some issues with spending
right.
money issues.
And then
Right.
the thing, I always think about too is like, substance abuse, like addictions and stuff like that, like we all know like the stigma and stuff around them. I think the thing I always think about, like I've started to think about, as I got older, is the people who aren't really addicted to like substances. They're like just addicted to like objects or whatever, like gambling and stuff like that. I think about with people like that, since I've known I know personally people who are in those positions. It's really hard for them too because, like, for instance, it's hard to tell somebody that you're addicted to something that everyday people use. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like when it comes to like drugs and alcohol and stuff, that's not something the normal person usually interacts with. So it's easy for somebody to say, "Hey, stay away from
Right.
like crack," because like obviously the normal person ain't finding crack at the supermarket and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I
But
understand.
like when it's like people who are addicted to like just stuff that's supposed to be like normal or that
Yeah.
everyday people use, yeah, there is an extra layer of shame there. You know what
Oh
I
yeah.
mean? Because then it's just like I said, seeing like the person I knew who had the issues with gambling, like that hurt because like you couldn't really call the police for that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Because like what they're gonna do, like arrest them for going to a casino, like
Right.
they're of age, they're gonna go. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
So like that was especially hard to see because it's like or like being addicted to like God forbid, video games. Like that's more of like a little kid thing, but like there's
No,
like kids that
you no
yeah,
adults be tweaked out
No.
yeah,
over GameStop and thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
there was a South Korean man who literally died in front of his computer because he
That's
just
crazy.
played so
There-
long. Yeah.
There's so many addictions, like like what you said. I think the two addictions that have the softest spot in my heart, um, is the gambling addiction because it's hard for people to. I just watched and read up on gambling, and that made me more empathetic. I was only empathetic because I knew it was an addiction, and because I'm an addict, I'm empathetic to all um addictions. But until I read and I seen some commentary and documentaries on gambling, it's something I wouldn't even want to deal with. I wouldn't, you know what I mean? Because it's really a psychological hold on
It's
you. And
scary. Like
it
try
is
seeing somebody like waste like sit there in front of a slot machine and not be able to move.
not go to the bathroom.
Right. Like I that's probably the scariest moments of my life seeing that. You know what I mean? Like seeing this person you love like going through that and just begging for more money. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Or just like crying their eyes out,
Hmm.
And like, I said, like so like those, yeah, like being addicted to like objects and stuff like that stuff, I do wonder how like what the pathway is for that because like
Hmm.
for real it's like that's one of those things it's like hard to really staying away from your computer, staying away from your phone, you know what I mean, like that
Oh
type of
yeah, there's nothing. Well, what about people who have there's the show 600 Pound Life. There's
yeah,
to me the reason why that plays on my heartstring is because you have to have food.
right,
Imagine having a problem with something you have to have in your life,
exactly,
right?
Right. Yeah.
You have to have food to survive. So again, gambling and eating disorder, period, not just for people who
oh
are
yeah,
overweight.
Mhm.
Anorexia, bulimia, any eating disorder, I am very empathetic, and as a person who has always struggled with my weight, I'm just empathetic when it comes to, at my heaviest I was 307. So
hmm
I understand what it's like to just struggle and try to maintain different weights. And so, like, again, in a world, in life, you need food and water. So to struggle with something you can't avoid, it's not like drugs and alcohol that we can
right,
avoid. You have to have food. You don't have to gamble, but again, and the reason why I am empathetic to gamblers is because, like you said, Brand, it's like, unfortunately, even though addicts who suffer from drugs and alcohol, even though we get a stigma, it's more like you can it's people can understand and be a little bit more empathetic
Hmm.
because it's your body, it's a physical
Right.
thing. They can't understand, well, just don't go to the casino and don't put your money in
Right.
the slot.
Right.
I'm telling you, people, because I only understand it because I know the feeling of that, wanting to not do something and still being pulled towards it.
Hmm.
But again, nobody wants that shit. I don't care what,
Hmm.
nobody wants to lose families, no one wants to go into bankruptcy, no one wants to
Right.
be suicidal over gambling.
Mhm.
Like these are, when you're thinking about how much you despise or just don't get a person, just remember the fact that nobody really wants this shit. Nobody.
Mm. Right. No, for sure. For sure. Definitely. I mean, yeah. But and when me and Marcus was discussing that, we was just discussing like, like how, like when it comes to like gambling, or even like, when it I was telling him when I was in college, I noticed like tobacco, what I mean, how prevalent that was.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the things that's really like jacked up as society. I'd argue over the past 10, maybe little over years, noticing is just like how younger and younger is being marketed to people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we was talking about with gambling, like it used to be, especially when it came to like sports betting and stuff. You had to go meet
Right.
some Italian dude in an alley to do that. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
Or go to Vegas. Like, but now, I mean, the sports you watch on TV actively sell those to you. Like
Right.
Exactly.
you got DraftKings, all that type of stuff. You know what I
And
mean? Like, and I keep reading all these articles and stuff of people. So many, it's like more and more each day. The numbers
Yeah.
have been climbing and climbing and climbing ever since they made it legal. Of people, young people, losing their livelihood and stuff, betting on these things. And now you got these things like the prediction markets and stuff, where you can bet on whether or not, Trump tied his left shoelace that day or whatever. Like, it's crazy. Like,
Are you kidding me?
yeah, and that's
yes,
and
prediction.
that's something I wanted to really touch on with you, Danny. I mean, like, because the dragon you were chasing was alcohol, and
Hmm.
as me and B was discussing, like, this is something. Now, I mean, like tobacco, you can't advertise it on TV or nothing. I think you can only advertise it in a magazine, but I mean, the damage is already done. You're gonna grow up and see your dad or something
Right.
smoking a cig. But when you're in an environment like you're in a world where everywhere you look, they're selling alcohol or gambling to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you listen to music, Pastor Cavassier.
Yeah.
You turn on the TV, drink a Miller Lite.
Yeah.
Or as B said, DraftKings, motherfucker. You want to what's the chances of LeBron shooting with his left hand over his right? Yeah.
Are you
You know,
serious? That's what it be?
Well, yeah, it's prediction markets. Prediction markets, you can bet on anything. They was betting on the midterm elections and stuff like that. Like, you can literally, as long as you got the money. That's what prediction markets, like, what's it, Kalshi, and there's a couple other ones, but I think the biggest one is like Kalshi. Yeah, you essentially, if you put the prompt in there, and if you got the money, you could bet on it. Like, it is what it is.
yeah. So yeah, Danny. Like, what's it like having to like go through such a such a double sided thing? It's like, okay, yeah, alcohol is definitely dangerous if overdone, but not only are you trying to recover, but you just see it just plastered everywhere because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, cause at your last year at your mom's retirement party, like I was just amazed. Like you was just like you was in the lion's
I
den.
bought I bought the liquor.
I mean, you
Yeah.
bought the liquor. I mean, that's even more. I mean, I'm just saying you're literally in the lion's den of it, but you just like just how you was. It was just like you'd have thought that you were just yeah, she just don't drink. Yeah, that's like you were just so cool, like
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just not even phased.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
So, two things I'll touch on. So I want to take it back to when you guys. My heart is literally breaking listening to you guys talking about the different gambling now. Like that's really, it's breaking my heart because that's gonna be the death of us. I mean, like financially. I was watching this one, it was a clip, I wasn't watching, it just popped up on my thing, and they were saying that this draft gambling thing is going to be like the new crack epidemic for us,
I
Hmm.
can
because
see
it's going
that.
to be so addicting. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's going to hit just a little bit, and it's going to bing, that one amount of money that they hit is going to just be like, their first hit high, and they're going
Right.
to just want to keep on chasing that, and unfortunately you're not going to keep on hitting. Yeah, I'm saying, so you're going to just keep on depleting your funds. So that really scared, when homie said it's going to be like the new crack epidemic. It's like my heart just sunk into my stomach.
And for real, it's both a negative and a positive, since it's essentially the great equalizer. Where with crack, granted, there was white people on it, it wasn't being reported, but for the most part, it hit our community. But with this
Purposely.
epidemic, you know, this was this is like kind of the great equalizer of epidemics, where it's hitting everybody.
Mm-hmm,
You know
mm-hmm,
what I mean? Like I've seen every demographic of person on it: men,
mm-hmm.
women, black, white, Asian, Latino, all types of people. And while it's equalized amongst the people, again, that's also a bad thing, meaning the impact of it is going to hit even harder because there's more people on it. You know.
Yeah, I'm very blessed that that's not my uh, particular realm of things, because I do have a very addictive personality.
Oh, for
So
sure.
I'm glad I don't really, like, whenever I would go to the casino, I'm on the penny slots, because I really I
Mm,
don't like, I'm not really big on credit cards, because I'm not big on, like, if I don't have it now, I'm not gonna have double later. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
right.
don't really
Yeah.
play with money that I can't see or have in front of me. You know what I mean? I don't,
Exactly. No, no, for real. Like
you know what I'm saying?
addiction, is hereditary, and I know I have it. And there's things in my life that I struggle with,
Hmm.
but yeah, that is one thing that I haven't faced. Like, I've been in the middle of Vegas and touched two slots and went to
Yeah, I'm
bed.
not really big on
Like, I
throwing
can't.
money in there.
I was like, I can't do that. Like, I can't, like, I thought about, honestly, like, I'll be 100% honest. I thought about going into the sports bet and stuff. I really did. And then
Hmm.
I went and tried to watch a video to learn it. And I'm like, this is way
Hmm.
too complicated. I'm
Yeah,
not doing all
Yeah.
this. Like, I'm
Yeah. It's like I
like,
don't watch enough of it to be
right.
able to bet. But and touching on what you said, Danny, like, yeah, there's a lot of addictions that I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad I didn't catch that bug in particular. Even though, yeah, all addictions matter.
I
But
hear
yeah,
you. I hear you.
there's some,
I hear you.
like, because the closest I've been to a casino was Chuck E. Cheese as a child. So like that's that's the gambling I did.
yeah, talk
Right.
about
And I,
starting them young.
yeah, yeah, that's definitely starting them young.
Yeah.
Um, but then the one I went through, like, that was more so, it was just debilitating. Like, financially,
Mm.
I've I fumbled a settlement, you know,
Right.
Mm.
off of it. And the way I did it, like, kind of like how you said, like, having that addictive personality, like, if it's around, you're just gonna keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And yeah, then what goes up, right? Gotta come down. And ooh,
And
boy,
Yeah,
coming
come down
down is
hard too.
like,
yeah,
Come
that's
down
the
hard too. Well, that's
but
that's the worst
don't
part.
let me have to do something around that. God damn, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And it's like, and like you said, you're not yourself, right? You're moody. You're a little more mean than people see you as. Like,
yeah.
like, I remember. Granted, it wasn't that bad, but I was kind of in that high, and I remember my grandma was talking to me about some bullshit, but I remember I was visibly annoyed, and I'm never like visibly annoyed around her. But yeah, I was like, I was tapping the wall, like, and I knew she saw me doing it. I was like, "Come on, man!" Like, I didn't say that, but that's how I look. It's like, what are we talking about, Grandma? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure she felt that. But yeah, like, but I mean, luckily, I never tried to rob nobody over it or anything. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just. yeah, it does change you. And the gambling thing, right? The website Twitch, like, I think, I don't know if they banned gambling streams or if they just put an age restriction on it. But yeah, like when it first came out, oh my god, like, yeah, there was people, I mean, there was even streamers
Yeah.
like you taking advantage of the what do you call that, the parasocial relationships they have with their fans, because they had a gambling addiction. So they were
Mm,
like DM random fans like, hey, can you win me this? And so
wow.
I can,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
like, so I don't know, like, so Danny, like, what was, like, for you, right? Like, what was it that really made you say, you know what, I'm putting my foot down
Hmm.
when it
Hmm.
comes to my self improvement?
Okay. So, all right, let me take it back a little bit. It's like, actually, this will be me answering a little bit of your last question because you said, how we walk past the liquor stores and it's temptation everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it just goes back to me saying playing the tape. Um, all praises due to the Most High God. My higher power has completely removed the taste of alcohol. I don't know. I'm about to tell you, in a second, what was my changing, but I never thought that I would never want to not drink. It's not that deep. It used to be super deep for me. And then one day it just wasn't that deep for me. So, um, and for any, before I talk about, what changed, I'll just say this real fast. For anybody who is like, it's that deep for you, your drug of choice, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can not have it for the rest of my life. I just want to say, if I don't say anything else that you hold on to, you don't have to worry about the rest of your life. You just
Mm.
don't. You only have to worry about today. Because newsflash, you might not wake up tomorrow. Unfortunately, right? And you worried about the rest of your life and you ain't even made it through the day, right? So for me, thinking about not being able to have alcohol in my life for the rest of my life used to like really scare me. But then when I really got the concept, a day at a time, stay
Mm.
in the moment, stay in today, it was like I can handle today. I
Yeah.
could today I can say I won't drink today. I can't say what I won't do tomorrow. But today
Right.
I could hold today down like a motherfucker. I could do today for sure. But in regards to me saying I was never going to drink again, I almost lost my life to alcohol. And this is why when it comes to addiction, I'm really hard with the alcohol push because people don't see it as a hardcore drug like
Hmm.
heroin or any other opioid or fentanyl. Like they don't, because it's so accepted, because like you said, it's on every
Mhm.
corner, it's a part of every
It's like a
celebration.
Trojan horse.
It's
Hmm.
like you're right to passage at 21. You know what I mean? So people don't see it, but statistically, if the data is showing that alcohol is taking people out of here more than any other drug, more
Yeah.
than
Right.
any other
Especially
drug.
because it's so accessible, right? So
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure. People, and then it's slow, like, right. It's attacking your kidneys. It's attacking
Yeah.
your liver. It's attacking liquor, alcohol can attack every organ in your body and just shut you down slowly, right? Where and even if it doesn't kill you right away, some of the things that it brings, you'll wish you were dead. Like no one wants a failing liver or failing kidneys, right? You know what I'm saying? So for me, unfortunately, I couldn't stop drinking before my body shut down. And I'm just gonna, speed through. One day I was at work and there was blood in my stool. I went to the bathroom and there was blood in my stool. And I told myself, unfortunately, this is how an alcoholic addict thinks. I was like, my drinking ain't that bad. This I literally said this to myself one time, a few
Yeah.
times. I said, if I ever see blood in my stool, I know I have a problem. I swear I said that to myself like a crazy person. And sure enough, one day there was blood in my stool, and that was the day I took myself to the ER. I don't know
Hmm.
why I had to drink myself to the point that I said that until there's blood in my stool. But I literally said that to myself one time. But this again, your brain isn't normal when you're in your addiction. So I passed out at work, and my coworkers at the time called 911, and they rushed me to the ER, and I was in the ICU for about a month and a half. Um, and while I was there, they were just pumping me full of liquids, you know what I mean, trying to get the poison out of me because I had fatty liver, I had cirrhosis of the liver, I had jaundice of the eyes. My body was completely just like a cesspool. I was literally just the walking dead for like the last 6 months because I was just full of poison from the liquor. You know what I'm saying? So, um, and the doctor, whenever there was still blood in my stool, I remember him saying, you have a 50-50 chance to live, because, if the blood doesn't, if we need the blood to start turning brown. The blood that was coming out of my stool was still very bright red, which meant I was still bleeding internally.
Yeah.
And I just remember laying in the bed, just being like really, really scared. But don't you know, I still was thinking. I laugh every time because I still was thinking about like, okay, Danny, when you get out of here, you just need to really slow down drinking. I'm in
Yeah.
the ICU, hooked
Right.
up to machines, just came out of a coma because they had to put me in an induced coma.
Yeah.
And the first thing I'm thinking is I need to slow down drinking, not stop drinking because you about to die. It's when you get out of here, slow down drinking. That's the mind of an addict because a normal person would be like, I ain't fucking with that shit no more. But um, fortunately, this was during the height of COVID, and if you guys remember, people
Mhm.
weren't allowed in those hospitals. It was just completely shut down. That wasn't happening. But my mother, she got up in them hospitals, and I don't know how she did it because people were getting turned away. But my mother,
Yeah.
she cried her way through, and I remember coming to one of the times because I was going in and out of my sleep, and the one time my mother was in the room, and I say it all the time, my mother's eyes went white, and she said, "I'm not living without my daughter." And that was the day. I don't know what it was about seeing my mom, like, her eyes go like that and her saying she's not living, but that was the day that I said I'm never drinking again, and I meant
Mhm.
that. But mainly because I didn't want to go out like a sucker. Like, to me, like, I didn't want people to be like, how did Danny die? Oh, she died from the bottle. I didn't want that to be my story. I just
Right.
didn't want that for me. So um that was and all praises. After I left the hospital, after I left the ICU, I had to go to a rehab center, but
Mhm.
not a rehab center like people would think, like for drugs and alcohol. I had to go to like a nursing home rehabilitation center because
Okay.
Mm.
I was on my back when I was in the ICU. I was laying down for so long. I had to like learn how to walk again.
Wow.
So I just remember when I was in the nursing home rehab, I didn't want to drink anymore, and I've never had the desire to drink since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
That's it
man.
in a nutshell.
Dang.
Well, first and foremost, man, shout out to your mom.
To my moms.
Shout out Miss
Shout out.
Rhonda.
To my
Yes,
moms.
Cause
yes.
I know she was yelling up a storm to get up in that hospital.
All about Rhonda's daughter, you heard? Up in that hospital.
But that's. I mean, obviously it was your efforts too. Of course,
Hmm.
don't count yourself out, Danny. But man, I mean, just gotta show just. I don't know. You gotta really appreciate the power of a mom's love. I mean, a
Mhm.
parent's love, mother's love. I mean, for her to like, yeah, like you said, like those COVID restrictions to still be able to be in that room with
All
you.
the way from PA to New York, my mama was up in that hospital for
Yeah.
sure.
No, it like I said, I didn't know the full extent. Like when you was going through that, only thing I had heard was that you was in the hospital. I had no idea that it was that serious. You know what I mean? So like, I just thank God
Yeah.
Hmm.
again that you here with us. Because I remember praying like all during when that was happening to you and stuff, and I never even knew it was that bad.
Yeah.
I heard you was in the hospital, and obviously I started praying for you, but I had no idea. So
Yeah, I remember Folkland, he hit me up about it. Um and, I mean, he was kind of like cushioning the blow a bit, but he did mention touch and go. So I was like, oh, dang, what's going on? So yeah, you was in my thoughts heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But
Appreciate that, y'all.
the the impact that we see you making now, championing recovery, shedding light upon, just different people's stories, stories that need
Mhm.
to be heard,
Mm,
you know, uh, I appreciate it,
thank you.
you know,
Thank
Yeah.
and
you
I'm
so
sure the
much.
people you spoke to also highly appreciate it.
Oh,
And this has to be very rewarding for you, yes?
oh my gosh. It's like I don't be wanting to be too excited because it's like I'm doing a good thing, but like it's like my new high.
Mm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I really get off on helping people. Like it really
Yeah.
just and even though people don't some people don't even be knowing that it be me like looking out or whatever, but
Mm.
like I just cause I would want that shit for me. Like everything that
Yeah.
I do it because I would have wanted somebody to do it for me. That's it. That's all. Like
Right.
when you get recovery, you don't get to get it and hold on to it. You it's your responsibility. You're whack as hell if you got recovery and you're not helping the next person. Like that's
Mm.
weird as hell to me because for me, I keep on saying it's like some people get so recovered or so much clean time or so good that they forgot. Like, did you be forgetting? Like that
Mhm.
shit's hard. Like life is really fucked up. I don't know. I don't ever want to lose that. I don't ever want to lose that. I think that's why I work so closely with people who are still like
Right.
battling things because as much as they need to see my recovery, I need to see that shit because I don't want to ever go back to that shit. I don't
Right.
want you to be in it. I want you up out of it. But while you're in it, it's reminding me
Right.
that can be you. And I don't, nah, I ain't
Right.
fucking with it. I can't go back. That,
Now, obviously, as you've been telling us, you went through your own addiction and recovery journey, and you've like you've seen like the highs and lows of it. But during this process, has there been parts of the addiction or the recovery story that maybe you didn't even know that you've been able to tap into by talking to these people?
yeah, it's like somebody's story will remind me of something that, because when you drink a lot, you black out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But sometimes blackouts are for good. You never gonna remember that shit. But
Mm-hmm.
then there's sometimes it's like even a smell, like something can just like remind me of something
Mm-hmm.
that my mind blocked out. So working with certain people, I be like, and that's why I be telling people like, you ain't got to lie to me.
Yeah.
I'm the person that ain't gonna judge you. You
Yeah.
understand? Like it's just because if you've been through what I've been through, how dare you judge another motherfucker like that?
Right.
You know, that's how I feel.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
And and speaking of that too, I definitely wanted to touch on that. Like I always say, like especially like it's one of those phrases that's lame, but like it gets truer and truer the older that I hear it. I mean, listen, it can happen to you too.
Mm.
Boy,
Nobody is above, you know, falling down that pipeline. you
And
boy,
it can happen at any age too. I think that's the other
boy.
Right.
thing. I think a lot of people think like addiction is a young man's game. You know what I mean? Like, but
Mm-mm.
like with these substances out here, you know what I mean? Like, or like with the drinks get stronger, if these companies making the drinks stronger, all types of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like anybody can get it. You know what I mean? Like,
Addiction might be a lot of things, but the one thing it is not is discriminatory. It
yeah,
don't give a fuck what you look like, how much money you have, how much education you have, man, woman. It does not care. If it can hook up on you and it gets its hooks on you, it's not like, oh, this is a man. I don't want to get no. This is a woman. No, no, no. It don't give a fuck who
right.
you are, what you are, where you come from. If it has a chance to hook on you, it's coming for you. So the best part is I think what's great about today is like back in the day when we had the dare programs, it's like trying to scare people straight. I think it's more important to like educate people in a way that it's not so much like whenever you're afraid of something, it's like the red button. It's like you gotta touch it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? but I think that spaces are coming off differently, and most importantly, people are it's becoming more common for people to ask for help.
Right, right. And but yeah, you know, also, well, you know, you did bring up like you know how it touches everybody, but I did wanted to ask, you know, granted, I don't know like if you experienced any of this in your journey, but did you notice or like either through your journey or through the dialogues you've had with other people, have you noticed a difference in terms of the treatments of addictions between like for instance like you know white people and like
Oh,
you know black people and stuff like that?
I talk about that on my podcast. Yes. And that's one of the reasons why I'm going to further my education. Because unfortunately, people that look like me, um, we don't, we one don't know where things are at. It's not
Hmm.
easily accessible. And financially, some people are going to get better resources than other people. And I think that if it's medical, everybody should have access to recovery resources. So yes, I know wholeheartedly that. And again, speaking from example, um, when I was in my addiction, I tried several times to get into an inpatient rehab, but the resources I had that and my insurance, they thought that I didn't need it or they weren't willing to pay for it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So, not to say that I would have got sober sooner, but I never got the opportunity to tap into all of the resources. Everybody should be equally
Right.
able to tap into everything. And that's the thing. Everybody's recovery is different. So, what works for one person may or may not work for the next person.
Right.
Yeah.
So, they should be able to have options, just like you can get a second opinion about cancer. You know what I
Right.
mean? They should be able to go to different resources until they found what works for them.
Hmm. Well, you know, I also, you know, wanted to carve out a little bit of time here to, you know, talk about your show just in general. You know what I'm saying? You know, now obviously you've told me the story like on built in the show and everything, but I do just like want to give you a platform to like really expand on like, you know, like the creation of the show, like how you set up like with your studio and like, you know, how you work on the format of it.
Okay. Well, the show came about, I started thinking about it during my fourth year of sobriety. If I'm being transparent, I was very angry with my higher power still, you know what I mean? Because I've been through a lot during my course of addiction. Like where I'm at now is a far cry from where I came from. So
Hmm.
and I was just I was not only the anger started to turn into just like me questioning like why did you do this to me? Why would you make me an addict? Why would you choose that for my life? And to me, I felt like he said, why not you? You know, why are you anybody can get a disease, like, so why would you think that you're so special, that you are like immune to get sick? And then secondly, it dawned on me I'm not the first person to go through it, and I'm not going to be, unfortunately I'm not going to be the last person to go through it. So we need to talk about it, and it needs to be. I stayed in my addiction for so long because, like you said, little brothers, y'all didn't even really know what was going on with me because I used to hide it as much as I could until I couldn't. It was came to a point where I just couldn't. But you guys are further away from me, so it's easier to hide it from you guys for sure. But I was so ashamed. I was so embarrassed that I was an addict, alcoholic. The judgment is so real. Like it can be debilitating and literally stop a person from getting help because they're ashamed. So my higher power gave me the idea to talk about it openly. How can we talk about it openly? Everybody has a podcast. So of course, and a lot of people were asking me to write a book. I don't like reading. Like, so if I wrote a book, I would have to read the motherfucker. So, but I like
Yeah.
talking. God gave me the gift of the gab
Mhm.
for a reason. So I said, let's talk about it. Um, and so that was the essence of how I, started thinking about getting it off, making it a project to get it off the ground. Um, I I just I work with a producer and a videographer. My studio, I rent space from my producer,
Mhm.
um, and I tell them what I'm thinking, and they help me. I'm not very artistic. I'm not really a visionaire type of person. I mean, it's obviously because it was my vision, but it's like I make sure I have the money to get my vision off the ground. So
Yeah.
Right.
everything you guys see, anything you see, even when you talked about me going into the neighborhoods, and speaking to the people in the community, we go out like 3, 4 in the morning. We have a segment called Raw Recovery Hits the Streets, where we talk to people who are
Mhm.
currently homeless, actively in our addiction, and we give them food and resources. That's all I'm out of my pocket. Anything you see related to my show has
Mhm.
come out of my pocket. Now I will say I did start a GoFundMe, so I don't want to take away from the people who have
Yeah.
donated in that way. Please don't ever let me forget that they have shared in that way. I'm just saying this is a self-paid, this is my way of giving back. Like I,
Yeah.
I owe this to people who are still sick. That I'm serious when I say you don't get to recover and not help the next person. Like
Right.
you
Right.
don't get to bounce back and not tell the person who's suffering how you did it. Because again, what worked for me may or may not work for you, but we could figure it out together. What's
Yeah.
going to work for you? You don't have to do it alone ever.
Right. No, it's I said, seeing, like I said at the top, seeing how you've built that brand, Danny, like, for real, like I've been so happy for you. You know what I mean? Especially because like it looks like it's something that you actually like love. You know what
Mm,
I mean? Like I can tell in every episode, like this is something that you was like called to do.
come
So,
on. Thank
you
you.
know, I I love everything that you're doing. I love every part of it, and for real, what you got planned for the future. You know what I mean? Like what's the future of Raw Recovery looking like?
We have so much planned. I just spoke to a couple of people. I don't want to say because not that I believe in jinx. I just like I want stuff to just plan out
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. But we're definitely working on expanding. Um, uh, the most recent, as one of you guys were saying, we're international now with our message. We've been able to reach the UK. I have a guest that I want to get on my show. I see his content a lot, and we've spoken back and forth. So he's in Canada, and it just really feels cool when I'm looking at the analytics
Hmm.
and I see the different countries that my show has reached, like Ghana. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
like that because addiction is everywhere. If
Right.
I just want to say that the one time I was court ordered to be going to NA and AA, I had to go.
Right.
And there was this man from India and, not born in America, but Indian. No, from India. He was in town visiting.
Yeah.
While he was in town visiting, he founded NA meeting,
Wow.
right? Because NA and AA has chapters all over because
Hmm.
addiction is all over. So the principles and things that NA and AA talk about here in America, they got chapters over there in India, and he knew even in America while he's here visiting,
Yeah.
his program says he needs his mind. He knows he needs meetings, so he did
Yeah.
his due diligence to find meetings here when he came here.
That
So
is okay. First off, I did not know that.
yeah.
So that's also that's actually really cool. Like, can you imagine you just out on vacation and but you're like, oh, hold on, I need to
Yeah.
set
No,
up a
listen,
meeting.
Marcus, listen to what you said on vacation. Anywhere, if
Right.
you say you're from New York or you go to Florida, at this day and age, even if you can't make it in person, it's virtual. You can
Mhm.
get online and get on a meeting. You could get, and anyone in the sound of my voice, if you're America, I'm sorry at this point right now, but if you don't know where to start, 988. Pick up the
Hmm.
phone and dial 988 and literally tell them what's going on, and they'll point you in the right direction. That's anywhere, coast to coast, all over the US. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I feel you. I feel you. But but yeah, well, we've been here for a little while, but I definitely think Marcus, unless you got something else to add, but other
Oh,
than that,
I'm editing the description. Hold
okay,
on, keep
cool.
talking.
But yeah, no, we was gonna, usually when we start to hit the end, we like to
Hmm.
ask our guests, if they got any shout outs or any announcements, anything you want people to do. So,
Yeah.
floor is yours, sister.
Well, if you would be so kind as to follow me on, definitely trying to grow my YouTube platform. Raw Recovery the Community. Literally type it in, Raw Recovery the Community. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok. Those are platforms that we are already on. Working on Spotify. And there's another project that I don't want to speak about just yet. That's what I was saying earlier.
Okay.
I want to just hold off on that, but that's a bigger one. Um, and we have a GoFundMe. Uh, you know, every like I said, everything you see is definitely coming up out of my pocket. No pressure. I don't want
Yeah.
anyone to feel like if you tapping in that no. We just want you there. But these are the things that we're working on to because everything we're doing is helping the next person. I have a young lady who reached out to me and said she wants to make the meals for when I'm going out into the community, so I don't have to give like spend money while I'm out there. I could just have bags ready to go. Boom,
Okay.
hand to the person, and I love it. I don't even need money, whatever. Even if you have suggestions, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I'm just figuring it out as I go. So if you have, and if there's a topic, no, the goal of the show is to let it be known everybody's in recovery from something. Might not be
Yeah.
addiction, but incarceration, homelessness, loss of loved one, a breakup. Oh my gosh, breakups. Everybody has had heartbreak. And again, what you're going through might seem small to me or the next person, but your world might literally be crashing and you think
Mm.
you can't talk about it because it's too small. On my
Yeah.
platform, nothing is too small or minute. If you are going through it, and even if I don't know how to help you, we'll figure it out together. That's the goal of it.
That's what's up. Well, y'all heard it here first. You know what I mean? Thank you so much for our lovely sister for coming out representing the
Thank
Raw
you.
Yeah.
Recovery Show.
Sure.
Hey, you know what it
Healing.
is. Was it trying to think. Is there a certain time that your show drop?
No, listen, I try to drop every Sunday. I try
Yeah.
to drop like around 7 p.m.
Okay.
New York EDT time zone. But if you whenever a person is watching, if you feeling like you need some lifting up, there's a episode for everybody on there.
Hmm.
So I mean, we still got some more topics to touch on, but like so far we really been getting at everything. We have an individual who's paralyzed from the waist down.
Hmm.
You know, talk about what it was like, first having one life and then how he had to recover and
Right.
live the life he lives now. That's not easy. An individual who robbed 5 banks,
Yeah.
did 20 years in prison. When he went to prison, we were still using pagers and beepers. You know,
Right.
and then now you have to have a bank account to have a job. So
Yeah.
his heart pumps, and he starts thinking about different things when he goes to the bank. But he plays the tape.
Right.
Robbing banks ain't like it was back in the day, 20 years ago. You're getting caught.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we
Yeah.
talk about on my show. We talk about
Okay.
everything.
All right. Well, yeah. So, and I was going. So we'll go back Sundays, but not a specific time. But yeah, look
Yeah,
out
whenever.
look out for the episodes on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Please follow our sister. Follow the page. Follow all her individual pages,
Yes.
and also for people who might be listening from our sister's audience, please feel free to come over here.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, we may not be as insightful as our sister. All right. One of us had to get the brains in the family. All right. But but we
Crazy.
try sometimes, you know
Those
what I
is my
mean?
babies. I love them too.
we
My little brothers.
yeah, we try sometimes to do cool stuff, come
Crazy.
over here Wednesdays 8 p.m. Eastern, or whatever we feel like starting, but we try at 8 p.m. Eastern. But
And, not to and not to get too sentimental, but there's a little thing for the audience, little trivia for the audience. Danny here is actually the bridge between all three of us brothers here. Our third brother obviously can't make it. He's a family man. But if it wasn't for Danny, I would not have known of B's existence. I remember I was in my early 20s and I got a call from Danny and she said, "Hey, did you know you had a little brother?" I said, "Get
Mm.
the fuck out of here. I got a little brother."
Remember that day?
Whoa.
Yeah.
So, and I remember that awkward first conversation would be
Mm,
like, "Hi, how are you? Do you
mm.
like coloring books? I like coloring books too." Well, no, I'm
Mm.
just kidding. We didn't talk about
Nah,
coloring books, but but still, like
I remember
Danny
them too.
is the goat
yeah.
of our sibling
Oh, for sure. Danny,
relationship.
one thing I'll say, Danny has tried to keep us all connected, like 100% ever since we was real little. You know what I mean? Like I said, I knew about Marcus. I just never had an opportunity to speak to him,
Wow.
and
And I
I
think,
always remember that day when I first met you in person, and like we was all over Danny's apartment and everything, and we took that
Mm,
picture and
mm,
stuff, like I remember my heart feeling so full off of that, you know,
mm.
and it's because Danny made it happen for real. Like
Y'all about to
Danny,
well,
make me
yeah, I
cry. Don't
mean,
do it. Don't do it.
I believe Danny is the main reason. Was that's what, according to her, she's the main reason I even stepped foot in Pittsburgh at all, because
Facts.
she used
According to
to
me, those is facts.
she used to bug our father a lot about, hey, where's our what about my country little brother from Georgia?
Facts. You can't tell me I got some siblings out there and I don't know about them. I'm not with that. No, I don't. I'm very, very big on family, and I really, with Lauren being our oldest brother, and I'm the only girl. I adore you guys. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely remember that. I was just sitting here thinking like, I don't think Marcus know about Brand. I don't know. It just like I don't know what made me think of that, and yeah, so I had
the
to
only
look.
reason I knew about Marcus is because my mom picked him up from the airport. That's literally the only reason I knew about Marcus. Like,
What?
And I
yeah,
forgot all about that too. Like I did
yeah,
not. I
oh yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
didn't know it was her. I don't know why I assumed it was Lori or something, but
Oh, shout out Miss Lori.
yeah. But yeah, my mom, always told me that story. But like, I was like, I was that story, didn't really mean as much because like I didn't have a chance to meet Marcus. You know
Right,
what I mean? Because I was
right,
like, like all my mom told me was she picked him up at the airport one day. I was like, okay, but like where he been? Like
right,
you
right,
picked him up.
right.
see, if you'd have known me back then, like my accent was.
Hard,
I didn't know I
strong,
had an accent until I got out there, and then,
strong.
but whatever school I went to up there, they beat it out of me. So,
Marcus had it hard out here.
bro, being from Georgia, trying to go to northern school, but I tell
Right.
you what, though, I came back down here. I was like a big fish in a small pond mentally, because I was like, damn, how my dumb ass ahead of y'all? But
Yo.
no, yeah.
but
Shout out to that teacher I had up there. I'm pretty sure she passed on by now. She was old when I was little, but shout out to her. I forgot her name.
Oh, shout out to Pittsburgh teachers holding it down.
but nah, but yeah, like our audience, please, go follow our sisters
Appreciate that.
audiences. Please come over, follow us. Everything, we all
Facts.
family. We always try to
One
keep it in
love.
the family. We always support each other. That's what family
SOS
supposed to do.
podcast.
For
Period.
sure, for sure. But that's what family supposed to do. Stay with each other, stay up, stay supporting each other. But yeah, if y'all want to catch us, we go live every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We talk about everything under the sun pretty much. And then, we always have great guests like our sister here. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We love y'all. Be safe out there. Peace, y'all.
One love. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, sis.
Peace.